Today I want to provide you with an important update on the war in Gaza and southern Lebanon. On the one hand, we just had another incredibly hard day for our people as we mourn the loss of another 6 holy IDF soldiers who gave their lives in battle in southern Lebanon. While just the day before, we lost more of our young heroes fighting courageously down in northern Gaza. These soldiers are doing the holiest work imaginable, defending the lives of every Jew and ensuring the safety of our homeland and, like I always tell you, the whole freedom-loving world. But let's be clear, they're doing this with one hand tied behind their backs, right? The whole IDF right now. But despite the heartbreak, we also need to recognize the incredible achievements that our holy IDF soldiers are making on the battlefield. A battlefield that I wish we were using more air power before sending in our ground troops. But that is another challenge that we are dealing with. Our soldiers are up against the purest of evil: Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, their whole terror proxy network. Yet instead of being empowered by our allies around the world to wipe out these enemies fully, we are held back by the relentless interference of the Biden-Harris-Obama administration, the Western European countries, the international organizations that have all put unbearable pressure on Israel. It's sickening and beyond comprehension. We are being forced into a position where we are not allowed to do what is truly necessary to protect our people, secure our homeland, and return our captives from Gaza. What am I talking about? Well, the one thing holding back our captives from being saved by us is the immoral and evil demand from the Biden-Harris administration and the international community to provide aid to Hamas in Gaza. Since day one of the war, that immoral aid has allowed Hamas to stay in power. And has been reported that the Biden-Harris administration has used that demand with threats of withholding weapons from Israel that we need to fight this war. Imagine if Hamas were not receiving this aid the past year, and that Hamas were on their knees. We would have been able to destroy Hamas and free our captives back in the beginning of this war a year ago. And here we are a year later. I can only imagine the threats that Netanyahu has received from the Biden-Harris administration, in addition to forcing us to deliver aid to Hamas, that have literally prevented us from crushing Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, as well in addition to holding us back from neutralizing the Iranian nuclear sites. These pressures from our allies and the Western enlightened world are costing us lives, especially the lives of our captives in Gaza, as I've mentioned. It's a sick reality, and it's one that we will overcome, even with a steep price. Despite all of this interference, their power is temporary. The Biden-Harris-Obama administration will be gone from the White House, and our resolve to defeat our enemies will remain. We will liberate Gaza, we will liberate South Lebanon, and we will make sure that those regions are never again left to terrorize us here in Israel. And yes, we will also destroy the Iranian nuclear threat. When, how, don't know. But it's truly devastating that the cost for this liberation has been the lives of our precious soldiers and captives. We shouldn't have to pay this price. But we will persist in fighting this war and not stopping, because the safety of our people and our homeland, our beautiful ancestral homeland, is worth everything. Now for the good updates on this war. Our soldiers are systematically dismantling the terror infrastructure in both Gaza and southern Lebanon, one building at a time, one village at a time. In Gaza, we've already cleared out northern Gaza, southern Gaza, and a huge strip right through the center of Gaza called the Netzarim Corridor. These aren't just strategic gains. These are now areas we've now made secure for Israel's future, and it's my hope, and the hope of many here in Israel, that the IDF begin setting up bases in those cleared areas, just as they did with Nahal bases along our borders after 1948, that those bases then became the foundation for future Israeli towns. And as back then, also today, from those, what we do in Gaza, ensuring that those territories never returned to terrorist control and remained under Jewish control, making Gaza Jewish again. And our soldiers in southern Lebanon, they've cleared out all the villages along the northern border, and they're now advancing north into the next mountainous areas, destroying Hezbollah's terror networks as they go. At the same time, we're hitting Hezbollah's hotspots from the air in the cities of Beirut and Sur, weakening their infrastructure and resolve. This is the IDF at its best, methodically clearing enemy strongholds and ensuring Israel long-term security. But Hezbollah is still strong, and we still have a lot to do up there. Now, strategically, we've got through some tough months, but we still have some tough months ahead. We still have 2 months under the Biden-Harris administration, a lame duck administration that's shown little support for Israel's right to properly defend ourselves. And we know all too well what tricks they could pull at the United Nations to damage Israel and our war efforts, just as Obama did when he was a lame duck president before Trump took office for the first time, and Obama instigated a horrible anti-Israel resolution at the Security Council of the United Nations. At the same time, President Trump has expressed that he wants us to be finished with this war by the time that he takes office. So it may seem impossible considering the threats and pressures we have from the Biden-Harris administration during this time, but we are obviously doing what we can. The good news is, though, that should our enemies, as they will, continue to fire rockets at us and remain a terror threat against us, even after Trump gets into office, we are pretty confident that President Trump will back our right to finish this war and secure our borders. Trump understands Israel's strategic importance, not just in the region, but for America and the freedom-loving world, and the need for us to put an end to this terror once and for all, and to end the Iranian terror octopus and Iranian nuclear threat for the benefit of the American security as well as world security. Turning abroad, check this out. This is what's taking place in Paris, France right now. At the same time that Israel is engaged in this holy war to defend our homeland, we're seeing terrifying scenes unfold in Western Europe, right? We had Amsterdam last week, and now this, Paris. Muslim immigrants, citizens, and even some native-born residents are rampaging through the streets of Paris, openly preparing to unleash violence upon what? Upon Israelis and Jews when Israel's soccer team arrives to play there as well. Again, and this follows the shocking events in Amsterdam, where the Muslim mobs targeted Jews in the streets in what can only be described as a modern-day pogrom. This is the disturbing new face of Western Europe, a place where being visibly Jewish is dangerous and where Muslim jihadi population is growing and openly attempting to destroy the very foundations of Western Europe and make it Muslim. These growing forces seek to undermine European values and replace them with Islamic Jihad that wants to destroy both Jewish and Western Christian heritage and culture, instead creating an increasingly hostile environment that should serve as a stark warning about the direction Europe is going. And Americans, beware. America is next after Western Europe. What's the bottom line? We here in Israel are winning. And we will win. And we want our fellow Jews around the world to come home and join us so that we can be a light into the nations and standing up to the insane, evil Marxist Islamist revolution so that the Western world can then win as well, looking at us as an example. In the meantime, we need everyone to keep praying for strength to endure the next 2 months of the Biden-Harris lame duck presidency so we overcome the obstacles of that administration with the least amount of Israeli lives lost as possible and to saving our captives. And also pray for our holy IDF soldiers and look forward to a future with a stronger, more supportive ally in the White House. Good times are ahead, though we still have bumps along the way to overcome. But the trajectory, everybody, it's positive. It's positive. Do not lose that perspective. Stay strong. Keep your faith and strengthen your faith in the one above. And remember, Am Yisrael Chai, we're going to get out of this. May God continue to protect our soldiers. And may we soon see the day when Israel is free of all these threats once and for all, so that we can be truly focused on fulfilling our purpose in the world, cultivating a proud and strongly Jewish state of Israel to be a beacon of light to all of humanity. So in the meantime, thank you all for your support, and may we all stay strong during these redemptive times that sometimes are difficult. Am Yisrael Chai, and remember, the one above has our backs. Keep your faith in him. Signing off for another Pulse of Israel in our eternal and ancestral homeland, the land of Israel. If you are not yet a subscriber to the Pulse of Israel videos, what are you waiting for? For the belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect truth, go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe. And we are a donor-based organization. While the videos are free to see, We need your support, your donations to do our work and make sure more people see our videos, because we are heavily censored and shadow banned across social media. So the more donors we have, the more donations we have, the more videos we can make and to be seen by more and more people to make a difference and usher in these redemptive times all together. So just go to pulseofisrael.com and click on the donate button every once in a while. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.